Hi, my name is Jack, and today we're going to look at another horrible Jennifer Sabina case. Why would a loving husband mutilate his wife? Many of us have frequently heard about the profound psychological condition known as post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. But few have delved into the depths of what lies behind these words. The term is employed to characterize mental disorders that arise from a singular or repeated exposure to severe traumatic events, such as violence, accidents, disasters, catastrophes, war, and more. This form of disorder is commonly observed in military personnel, individuals who have been involved in combat, and those who have witnessed the deaths of others over an extended period. Even upon returning home, they struggle with the challenge of adapting to civilian life. 1/3 of soldiers returning from conflict zones undergo some degree of post-traumatic stress disorder. Most tragically, their loved ones also suffer, desperately attempting to assist them in overcoming the crisis and returning to a normal life. The family of Iraq War veteran Jennifer Sabina has grappled with this issue for an extended period. Regrettably, the illness proved to be insurmountable. The case of Jennifer Sabina shocked the tranquil town of Wauwatosa, Wisconsin, due to its brutality. Furthermore, it marked the first line-of-duty death of a police officer in the town's history. Behind it all was a tragic narrative that unfolded over nearly a decade and concluded with the untimely death of a young woman. Let's begin at the start to comprehend the situation and explore whether there was any possibility of avoiding such a dramatic outcome. Jennifer Louise Sabina, formerly Miller, was born in 1982 in Milwaukee County, Wisconsin. She was the eldest of 2 siblings in her family and grew up closely connected to her younger brother, Jacob. As Jennifer began attending school, her parents decided to separate and initiated divorce proceedings. Following this, her father relocated to another state and ceased playing any role in his children's lives. Despite the challenges, Jennifer remained a steadfast support for her mother, who worked diligently to provide for the family. Jennifer took charge of maintaining the household, preparing meals, and looking after her younger brother while her mother worked tirelessly. In addition to her responsibilities at home, Jennifer excelled academically and harbored dreams of pursuing a future career in law enforcement. Benjamin J. Seben, also hailing from Milwaukee, shared the same age as Jennifer and even went to the same high school as her. However, despite this shared background, they did not have a personal acquaintance. Post-high school, Benjamin enlisted in the U.S. Marine Corps, where he completed 2 tours of duty in Iraq. He received an honorable discharge in 2005, having endured a severe concussion and numerous injuries to his body and limbs during his service. The tale of how the couple first connected unfolds during Benjamin's service in Iraq. Benjamin, while stationed there, joined the newly emerging and rapidly growing social networking site, Facebook. On the platform, he searched for his hometown and, while perusing profiles of fellow citizens, stumbled upon the profile of a charming, smiling girl named Jennifer. Upon researching her details, he discovered that they had both attended the same high school, though he couldn't recall her. After contemplating for a moment, Ben decided to reach out to the lovely girl. He greeted her, explained that he was currently serving in Iraq in the Marine Corps, and inquired about her well-being. Jennifer didn't reply immediately and responded briefly that she was doing fine, showing a reluctance to engage with a stranger. Undeterred, Benjamin started writing to her daily, even in the absence of responses. Gradually, he succeeded in capturing the attention of the beauty, and they began to engage in casual conversations on various topics, reminiscing about their shared high school experience and trying to unravel the mystery of how they had never met before. A mutual affection blossomed between them, and they even began to plan a reunion for when Benjamin could return home. By that time, Jennifer had successfully graduated from the police academy, undergone specialized training, and passed all the required exams to fulfill her dream of becoming a police officer in her hometown of Wauwatosa, Milwaukee County, Wisconsin. Her pursuit of this career had been a cherished goal since her high school years, and she took immense pride in achieving it. Jennifer enthusiastically shared her joy with a pen pal, who genuinely congratulated her on this significant accomplishment. Meanwhile, after a serious injury and subsequent homecoming, Benjamin was scheduled to return home in November 2005. However, in February of that year, he and several comrades were struck by mortar fire. Tragically, most of Benjamin's comrades lost their lives that day, and although he miraculously survived, he suffered severe injuries. His kneecap was nearly shattered, his left arm was almost torn off by shrapnel, held together only by a few tendons and a piece of skin, and he sustained shrapnel wounds to the chest and head, along with a severe concussion. Benjamin was meticulously reconstructed piece by piece at a military hospital, and once his condition stabilized, he was transferred to Germany for further treatment and rehabilitation. Although his arm was saved, it had partially lost sensation and function, and his knee was in considerably worse condition. Doctors were skeptical about Benjamin's ability to regain mobility. During this challenging period, Jennifer, with whom he corresponded daily, provided unwavering support. She expressed constant prayers for his recovery, maintained faith in a miracle, and hoped for the best. The miracle did happen, and Benjamin gradually began to recover, relearning to walk. A few months later, the demobilized Marine was sent to California, where his military unit was located. After completing the necessary paperwork, he returned to his hometown of Wauwatosa as a combat veteran with disabilities, greeted by his parents and Jennifer, with whom he had developed a close bond through their correspondence. By that point, Benjamin continued with his rehabilitation program, achieving promising results. The muscles of his injured limbs were becoming more robust. He engaged in regular exercises, and soon he regained the normal use of his left arm. Contrary to doctors' predictions, he not only walked, but could also run. Upon their first meeting, Benjamin and Jennifer quickly realized they didn't want to spend a single day apart. The couple cherished every moment together, engaging in conversations about everything under the sun, creating an atmosphere as if they had known each other their entire lives. A passionate romance swiftly blossomed between the two young individuals. Jennifer regarded her partner as a hero, showering him with care and unwavering support in every aspect. Benjamin, deeply grateful for her presence, proposed to make her his lawful wife at the end of 2005, to which she joyfully agreed. Without hesitation, they registered their marriage and tied the knot on New Year's Eve 2006. Profound post-traumatic stress disorder. The time spent by a young man in war zones has left an indelible mark, not only leaving him physically scarred but also deeply traumatized. Benjamin grappled with complex post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, exhibiting all the typical symptoms such as nightmares, heightened anxiety, psychotic episodes in the form of flashbacks, depression, and thoughts of self-harm. For the former Marine, any loud noise, sudden popping, fireworks, or even the sound of an airplane passing by could trigger distressing flashbacks. Engaging in regular therapy with specialists, there were periods when the disorder seemed to recede, leading his loved ones to believe he was returning to normal. However, this impression was deceptive. According to Benjamin's own recollections, during the war, he witnessed the deaths of at least 50 of his comrades, many of whom were close to him. Experiencing their deaths left a profound personal grief that continued to haunt him. Jennifer and Ben regularly attended church together, where Ben also sought assistance in addressing the psychological challenges he was facing. A combination of diverse therapeutic approaches, including both medical and spiritual aspects, proved to be effective. While there was notable progress, some of Ben's symptoms appeared to have become chronic. Given that Jennifer and Benjamin were still in their youth, brimming with hopes and plans, they made the decision to postpone starting a family until his condition stabilized. The couple firmly believed that they had a lifetime ahead of them, and that there was still ample time for everything. 7 years after the wedding, however, Benjamin's condition had not improved. He was still plagued by nightmares, panic attacks, and thoughts of self-harm. Moreover, due to his injuries and disorders, the former Marine was forced not only to give up his military career, but was also unable to find another prestigious and promising job. Benjamin's condition began to deteriorate rapidly. In October, Jennifer confided in her best friend Linda, revealing that her husband had acquired a firearm that he rarely parted with, even sleeping with it under his pillow. During the night, he would frequently awaken with nightmares, screaming, and instinctively reaching for the gun, disoriented and feeling as if he were still in the midst of war, surrounded by enemies. In these distressing moments, Jennifer made every effort to soothe him and guide him back to reality. These nightmarish episodes became a disturbing routine, with prescribed sedatives offering little relief. To compound matters, Benjamin began contemplating voluntary self-harm, openly sharing these thoughts with his wife. In an attempt to reassure him, Jennifer expressed her inability to live without him, pledging to stand by him and seeking care. At this point, both spouses were in their 30s. Jennifer enjoyed a promising career, held in high esteem at work, surrounded by friends, and adored by those around her. In contrast, Benjamin relied solely on a government-appointed disability pension. His social circle was limited to close family members and fellow parishioners from regular church attendance. His peculiar behavior and sporadic bouts of aggression deterred people from befriending him, exacerbating his isolation. Beyond the challenges of PTSD and depression, Benjamin seemed to be grappling with an impending midlife crisis. It appeared to him that everyone around him was progressing, pursuing goals and achieving success, while he felt stagnant. Even his wife's care and support started to feel like a mockery, intensifying his feelings of guilt and shame for his perceived inadequacy. In early December 2012, Jennifer transitioned to night shifts, patrolling the streets of Wauwatosa from dusk to dawn to maintain order. This change in schedule weighed heavily on her mind, as it meant her husband would be alone at night. She harbored concerns that if he experienced a nightmare or distressing memories during that time, there would be no one available to assist him. Approaching their 7th wedding anniversary, Jennifer contemplated a vacation and began planning a trip to the ocean for a change of scenery and relaxation. On December 17th, she shared these vacation plans with a colleague. Unfortunately, these plans were not destined to materialize. A week later, a devastating tragedy abruptly ended the life of this young woman, marking a tragic incident in the serene town. On the evening of December 23, 2012, just before Christmas, Jennifer began her night shift. Throughout the shift, she constantly texted her husband, expressing concern about his well-being. As the night progressed, Jennifer's messages suddenly ceased, though her husband continued to reach out, inquiring if everything was all right. On the evening of December 23, 2012, just before Christmas, Jennifer began her night shift. Throughout the shift, she constantly texted her husband, expressing concern about his well-being. As the night progressed, Jennifer's messages suddenly ceased, though her husband continued to reach out, inquiring if everything was all right. By the early morning hours at 5 a.m., dispatch made several attempts to contact Jennifer. However, with no response from the patrolwoman, the decision was made to determine the location of the patrol car she was operating. The vehicle was discovered at the city's fire station, merely 5 minutes from the police department. The fire station was a common stop for patrol officers, either to grab a quick bite or complete reports at the end of their shifts. However, the officer remained unconscious, a cause for serious concern as it had never happened before. Dispatch then dispatched another officer from the station to investigate, leading to a shocking discovery at the fire station. Jennifer's car was parked at the back door of the building, and a few feet away, right by the exit, lay lifeless Jennifer. On the snow-covered sidewalk, she lay in a pool of blood, having suffered multiple close-range gunshot wounds to the head. Her face was virtually unrecognizable. The officer immediately reported the incident to the station, leading to the dispatch of an investigation team and a medical team to the scene. Thus, on the night before Christmas, Officer Jennifer Seben became the first police officer in the history of the quiet town to be fatally wounded in the line of duty. Around 6:30 a.m., Benjamin called the police station inquiring about his wife and the unanswered cell phone. He was informed that there had been an incident with Jennifer without receiving specific details, and he was asked to come to the station immediately. Benjamin arrived less than half an hour later, looking anxious, but notably, he did not ask any questions. Instead, he answered standard inquiries, recounting his activities the previous night while his wife was on duty. According to Benjamin, after his wife left, he briefly visited the store and spent the rest of the evening and night at home playing video games. texting Jennifer until she suddenly stopped responding. In the morning, he called the station and was asked to come in. At that point, he could only be questioned, not charged, following standard procedure. However, the police observed fresh abrasions on his hands with dried blood, to which Benjamin attributed to struggles with post-traumatic stress disorder, suggesting that pain helps him regain control. When Benjamin was eventually informed of his wife's fatal injury, he had a genuine breakdown, jumping up and vehemently protesting its truth. He knocked over a table and began pounding his fists on the wall, requiring several strong officers to subdue and calm the distraught widower. In the course of the investigation, only one set of footprints was discovered at the scene in the freshly fallen snow. The tracks led from the tires to the back door of the fire station and back again. The evidence suggested that the perpetrator acted alone, and judging by the size of the footprints, it appeared to be an adult male. 5 bullets were discharged at the officer from 2 distinct firearms, one from a 9mm pistol and the second from Jennifer's service weapon, which the perpetrator had taken with them. All the bullets were directed at the head, with 2 targeting the back and 3 aimed at the face. The intentional focus on the face indicated personal animosity, deep hostility, or a desire for revenge. However, the young woman had no known enemies, and those who knew her personally held love and respect for her, speaking only positively about her. On the same day, footage from all street cameras leading to the fire station was requested. The investigation revealed that the small town's roads were nearly devoid of cars in the early morning hours. However, around 4 a.m., a black Toyota Prius with tinted windows and black rims pulled up to the fire station. At some point, the car disappeared from the camera's view, and a short time later, the same car was spotted in the opposite direction, heading straight for Benjamin's house. Remarkably, Benjamin arrived at the police station that morning in the same car for questioning, which removes all doubt. He was immediately followed, arrested as the prime suspect, and his house was thoroughly searched. The first observation made by investigators was the punctured holes in the living room wall. Drywall had been forcefully punched through, likely with fists, and bloodstains were evident around the edges. It became evident that this was where Benjamin had sustained the abrasions on his hands, occurring no later than the night before. Colorful sticky notes adorned the refrigerator door, serving as messages between the couple. While Jennifer's notes exuded love and concern, her husband's were either dry and curt or insincere, resembling lines from romance novels. A 9mm pistol shell casing was discovered in one of the dresser drawers, and the weapon itself was located in the bedroom, in the bedside table on the side where Benjamin slept. The search for Jennifer's stolen service weapon proved time-consuming, but it was eventually found concealed in a ceiling vent. Forensic analysis confirmed its use in Jennifer's shooting. Upon his arrest, Benjamin adhered to his initial statement, asserting he never left the house and denying involvement in his wife's death, insisting he loved her and could never harm her. When confronted with indisputable evidence of his guilt, he broke down in tears and confessed. Benjamin revealed his enduring struggle with various manifestations of post-traumatic stress disorder since returning from a war zone. Despite the love and care of his wife, support from his church, and assistance from experienced doctors, he found no relief. His thoughts increasingly turned towards voluntary self-harm, a sentiment he shared with his wife. She persistently discouraged him, affirming she could not live without him and would follow him. It is alleged that Benjamin decided to end his beloved's life out of mercy. He reasoned that, as religious individuals, if Jennifer were to commit suicide, it would be a grave sin leading to eternal damnation. To spare her from eternal misery, he chose to bear the entire burden by terminating her life and then ending his own. Benjamin knew his wife, like her colleagues, stopped by the firehouse at the end of her shift to write a report. He meticulously observed her for days to determine the precise time and location where she parked her car. On that fateful evening, he arrived on time, approximately 15 minutes before Jennifer exited the car. Positioned right at the door, Benjamin acted swiftly and decisively, firing 2 shots at her head with a gun brought from home. He claimed that she then turned around, drew her service weapon, which he had taken from her, and fired 3 more shots at her head. However, expert analysis suggested that the first 2 shots were fatal, and she couldn't have turned around or reached for the gun. Furthermore, the entry wounds indicated that the last 3 shots were fired into her body while she lay on the ground. The rationale behind shooting her 5 times in the head, severely disfiguring her face, remained unclear, necessitating a closed casket funeral. In the end, Benjamin entered a full guilty plea, attributing his actions to a severe mental disorder that he claimed left him unaware of his deeds. Consequently, a psychiatric evaluation was mandated, revealing that despite suffering from severe complex post-traumatic stress disorder, Benjamin was fully cognizant of his actions. Additionally, it was disclosed that he had premeditated the crime, attempted to conceal evidence, and continued to send messages to his deceased wife's cell phone to divert suspicion. Testimonies from witnesses, including friends and co-workers of the deceased, indicated that Benjamin harbored jealousy toward his wife's career success and frequently vented his anger towards her. Moreover, his irrational jealousy extended to Jennifer's male co-workers, fueled by the belief that she could leave him for healthier, younger men without the physical and psychological issues he faced. This jealousy and suspicion, compounded by anxiety, contributed to Jennifer's despair. Appearing in court in a wheelchair, restrained due to his consistent attempts at self-harm, Benjamin fully acknowledged his guilt. He shed tears, offered apologies to his mother-in-law, and expressed deep regret, claiming that if he could turn back time, he would never harm the woman he loved and who loved him. In June 2013, Benjamin was convicted of the premeditated murder of an officer who died in the line of duty. Initially, the decision was made to exclude her name from the memorial wall due to the nature of her death. However, following significant protests and collective petitions by Wisconsin residents, her name was eventually added to the memorial. Thanks for watching, everyone. Subscribe to the channel and don't forget to click the bell for more shocking stories to come.